The U.S. Department of Agriculture says it has launched an agency-wide investigation of fraud in the bulk beef business. One of the firms under USDA scrutiny is the Beaverton store operating under the name Meat Masters. Federal charges against Meat Masters parallel some of the discoveries Channel 2 News made when making a beef buy with that company. Here is the second installment now of Randy Ripplinger's special report on the beef game.
John and Kathy Ricker cooperated with our investigation by making a beef purchase at the Meat Masters Beaverton store 2 weeks ago. They asked for the advertised special of rib and chuck sections at 99 cents a pound. They were shown fatty, unattractive beef, which Meat Masters compared to some leaner, higher-priced meat.
He showed us what they had and talked it all down, said it was, really terrible meat, that it was lots of fat and a lot of waste, a lot of trim to throw away. And then he proceeded to tell us that we should buy this other meat that wasn't advertised.
The Federal Trade Commission ruled in 1973 that it is unfair or deceptive trade practice to disparage advertised products by displaying meat to a customer which is fatty or otherwise repellent or unwholesome in appearance, and to represent it as the meat advertised in order to promote the purchase of other higher-priced meats. The Rickers walked out of Meat Masters with what was supposed to be 190 pounds of rib and chuck. But the American Association of Meat Processors tells us that no rib and chuck could weigh that much.
I don't think what you have here came off of one animal. I think what you have here, you went in to buy a chuck and a rib, and I think you have a lot of pieces from different animals that was given to you.
The Oregon Consumer Protection Division has sued Meat Masters president Larry Peterman, claiming he uses bait and switch and other tactics.
They have misdescribed various packages of meat as being halves or sides, when in fact they were larger and having more of undesirable cuts in them. So
that case is moving slowly and has not yet come to trial. But the USDA put more teeth into its investigation of the firm in 3 Wyoming cities. A federal grand jury returned a 19-count indictment against Peterman, accusing him of deceptive sales and making false representations. The indictment lists 22 victims whom USDA claims Peterman defrauded by conspiracy. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Wyoming says Peterman and 8 accused co-conspirators fled the state, but have since been located and arraigned. We went back to Meat Masters in Beaverton to ask some questions about their advertising and sales tactics, but when we approached the store, the normally busy front office was abandoned, except for one customer.
Where'd they go?
We located one employee who said the manager would return in a few minutes. We found other employees behind the building taking off their aprons.
And wanted to talk to you guys and give you a chance to tell your side of the story.
No, I wouldn't know nothing about it. I just cut meat.
You just cut meat?
I just wrap it.
When the other employee came out back, she refused to answer questions as well.
Could I talk to somebody in charge? When will you be back?
We waited for the manager, somebody named Mark, to return, but his estimated arrival time kept getting later in the afternoon. Finally, one employee offered an explanation of why customers would take home bad cuts of meat.
Well, they're right here when we cut it and everything, and they can tell us if they want to trim more or whatever.
I see. Do you think we can get pictures of the meat you have?
Huh?
Could we get pictures of the meat?
I can't authorize that.
Could she?
No. We got all kinds of appointments and stuff here right now, and
okay.
we can't do you no good.
So we left for a while and came back later that afternoon in hopes that manager Mark could explain some of our cuts of meat. But now Mark was sick, and the malady was spreading to other employees.
Could one of your people who cuts meat explain it to us?
Our meat cutter isn't here.
My guy right over there says he cuts meat. He told me he cuts meat.
He's sick right now.
He's sick right now?
Ultimately, a Meat Masters official called from Salt Lake City. The man remains nameless and wouldn't answer questions over the phone, but he said the company president would fly to Portland for an interview. Despite our repeated attempts to arrange the interview, Larry Peterman, the Meat Masters president, couldn't be reached at his Utah headquarters. Utah agriculture officials say that he has operated there for 10 years, under 5 different store names, opening and closing every couple of years. The USDA charges against Meat Masters in Wyoming will go to trial next week. The Oregon Attorney General's lawsuit has a trial date scheduled in December. Meanwhile, the company is still doing business here, has just reopened a store in Eugene, and is still operating in Utah and other states. Meantime, the USDA says its investigation is continuing as the beef game